Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hi everyone, I am Shubhajyoti Samadar from Disaster Prevention Research Institute, Kyoto University. Welcome to Disaster Recovery and Build Back Better lecture series. This lecture we will talk about disaster preparedness from cognitive and heuristic perspective. We already had discussion on what cultural theory, how social factors, they play a role in disaster preparedness. But when you're communicating people to encourage them to prepare against disaster, what they're going on inside them as an individual, what kind of cognition and heuristic perspective we may look into. That would be the focus of this lecture, okay? So we discussed that individual does not face only disaster, but in real life we all have different kind of risk. Disaster risk or environmental risk or ecological risk is just one part of that risk. Life is full of risk. Disaster is not an isolated one, okay? We have health risk, we have academic risk, we have job risk. So which one I should prioritize, which one I should take and which one I should ignore? Because many people are advising me to consider this risk as serious and to take preventive actions. So we already had the discussions on cultural perspective. Here in this lecture we will focus on heuristic or cognitive perspective, okay? So they are saying that it's okay that you are culturally biased, you are culturally influenced, but in the end of the day, you have to make your own decision. That is, you are the responsible. You make the decision as an individual what to do and what not to do. Okay, no other person can impose anything if you don't want. They can force you, they can influence you, they can pressure you, but it is you who have to make the decision, okay? So what is going on inside human brain, what intellectual reasoning process they are going through is important to know when we are trying to say that, okay, we want to encourage people to take preventive action against disaster. Of course, culture is an important part, but apart from we, also I have a mind of individual. I am part of my neighbor, I am part of my colleague, co-workers, I am part of my friends, I am influenced by them, but my actions, my attitudes are my own. I am also influenced by others, what I do, okay? Of course, culture is an important, but this person is wise or poor, somebody thinks is wise, somebody thinks is poor, right? So it's not only cultural differences, but also individual, personal differences play a role, that how people think one object differently, not only one category of culture, not only one kind of social system they groom people to think in particular way, but also individual, because of several other reasons, they have their own mind. So we look into the mirror every time, every day. It's not that we want to know that how I am looking good. But we have another kind of mirror that we want to think that what we are doing is right or wrong, socially accepted or not, individually accepted or not. So we have our own judgment about our personality, okay? So this is fine. We discussed already that people are basically culturally biased, but people have their own mind also. So what we do generally in order to promote disaster preparedness or risk preparedness, let's say this road accident, okay, or something, we generally ask people have this kind of advertisement, okay, that you are traveling, you are riding bike or you are riding car, you can see on roads that these posters that is alarming you that if you do rash driving, this is the consequence, this is the result is waiting for you. So be careful, okay. These posters, these pictures are very common, right? When we, or you can see that for the road safety, often we want to make, in order to increase your risk awareness, we show this picture, right? Every time you go on road, you can see this one. It's a very nice poster. Happiness is a journey, not a destination, okay? So we can't. Safe drive, stay alive. Drive to survive. It's very kind of common posture to protect road safety. Same in case of a disaster also. Also maybe we can look into health risk. In order to ask people not to smoke, this is a very nice picture, nice poster with very precise, very concise. Smoking causes lung cancer, so don't smoke. And this picture gives 1,000 words to the audience that why they should not smoke. Also, this one is a very good example that you should not smoke. If you are smoking, actually, not only cigarette, but you are burning yourself, right? So don't smoke. So obesity is a very common problem in modern society, okay? Not only in India, but in many other countries, especially in US. So obesity is another kind of health risk that you don't eat junk food. If you are taking junk food, eating junk food, then this is the consequence, okay? And you will get heart attack. Now, looking at these advertisements, these messages, what is the core of that one? What the core idea you can get? Any idea? Well, look at everyone. Look at all these posters. Their focus is only one thing. Only one thing. That is, they are actually want to increase your fear. They want to stop your maladaptive behavior. If you don't prepare against flood, then your house will be inundated. If you don't prepare, build with earthquake-resistant building, their building will collapse, you will die and injured. So fear, it is the target, the objective is to increase your fear. If they can increase your fear, that means if they can increase your risk perception, high risk perception once you have, then you should not do rash driving. You should not build your house without flood protective measures. So you would not do unnecessary, unwanted things that cause dangers. So here the focus is on to increase the fear only. But now, the cognitive heuristic approach, they are arguing that, okay, why I am smoking could be different reason. Maybe it's a kind of my pleasure, my body needs nicotine, or maybe somebody told me that I look macho, handsome, smart, when intelligent, when I am smoking. I look more fashionable when I am smoking. People look at me when I smoke, or many other reasons could be there. So why I am smoking is not that only because of one reason. So fear would not give me much reason. So I know I am fat. I have obesity problem. I know my house is built in a particular area that is flood prone. Or I know that I did not install a rainwater harvesting tank because I have water scarcity problem, but still I didn't do it. In case of obesity, that I know that I am fatty, but you are not telling me, you are only increasing my fear. You are only increasing my fear that if I smoke, I will be at danger. But tell me how. I tried many times. I did diet control. It didn't work. I know I am fat, but how to control that one? If tsunami is coming and you are increasing people's fear, they will think, okay, tsunami will come one day. It's a natural act, natural phenomena. We cannot protect. And if it is too big, and if I have a lot of fear, the only thing I can do is I can surrender. It's like committing suicide. I'm a fatalist. I am not taking any action. Okay, so I have no way but to surrender. This gigantic, it's a God's act, gigantic, catastrophic disaster. So fear, increasing fear would not help much to promote disaster preparedness, right? If only increasing fear, it means people could become fatalist. I know there is a risk, what I can do. So we should tell people what they can do. It's not only they are at risk, but how they can reduce the risk is an important message should be for the planners and for the practitioners and for the local governments, okay? So if we simply say like this one, that try this option, a person who is having obesity issue, if we simply tell them, okay, you can eat more fruits and vegetables and you can walk and run on the morning and evening, that would significantly help you to reduce your fat, your obesity issue. He or she would be much encouraged to do it, rather than if we are just increasing his or her fear, right? Similarly, if there is an earthquake, if we tell people that once there is an earthquake, please protect yourself by going inside the furniture table, then you can protect your head. If there is a tsunami, go immediately to the higher place in a mountainous area where tsunami waves cannot come. So, or if I want to quit smoking and trying to quit smoking, but I failed several times, but you said, okay, I have one patch. If you put on your arm, it would help you not to have the thirst for smoking, okay, not the appetite for smoking. So that would significantly help me to quit smoking. Not only my fear for something would help me, but if you let me know what I can do is also important. So I am giving you options, okay? So here, if I am asking someone to evacuate, flood evacuations, I told that he has a lot of problem, like it's a difficult decisions because he doesn't know how risky the place is and evacuation is effective or not. Let us look at a small example. Here in Bangladesh, people are battling with arsenic contamination of groundwater. So they are now used to have surface water for drinking, but surface water was contaminated by pathogens, waterborne disease. Like if you are consuming surface water, you can get diarrhea, dysentery. So in 1980s, they started to install hand pumps in rural areas in Bangladesh, started to promote. Immediately after 1 decade, they found these hand pumps are contaminated by arsenic. And anyway, so in many parts of Bangladesh, basically the coastal areas, okay, in the southern part, is you can see in the map, they are contaminated. Now 1.2 million people already identified symptoms of arsenicosis, okay, and 30 to 40 million people are at risk in Bangladesh. So arsenic can cause cancer and many other health problems. Now what to do with this is a simple solution. Somebody is saying that rainwater harvesting is not that expensive, but you can just preserve the water from your rooftop during the rainy season, and you can preserve it for dry season, and you can use it, okay? We can go for this technological matter in later on, but let us consider that this is a symbolic disaster preventive mechanism, okay, or environmental risk preventive mechanism. Now, this is Bangladesh. So if only one person is doing, as I was saying, it would not work. What we need to do is that we need to promote this technology one after another. So more and more people should install this small tank at their own house. It's a household tank. So every household should have this one. Only then we can do it, right? Like this. So this is like this. So if we can able to encourage millions of people to install this rainwater harvesting tank, then it will be significantly reduce the drinking water risk in Bangladesh. So this is our challenge as a planner, right? Now, how to do it? Here is the thought from cognitive and heuristic perspective. Let's imagine that we have 4 people whom we ask to install this rainwater harvesting tank. Okay, it's simple. 4 people there, they are the citizen of Bangladesh in coastal Bangladesh, and we want them to install this small household tank. So if you ask them, what questions will come first in their mind? What will they think first? Any idea? If I ask you that please use flood protective building materials in your house, or earthquake protections building materials in your house, will you do it? Just think about for a second that will you do it or not? So if we ask them to install this tank, what they will think, what first question will come to their mind? The first question come to their mind that how is your present water? Is it risky? Is the water I am drinking, is it really risky? So similarly, if I am asking you to take a flood insurance or to build your house earthquake resistant, you will first think, am I at a place where earthquake is happening? Is it really prone to earthquake, right? So the first person will think that, am I at risk? Is my water quality is really good or bad? So the first person, okay, he may consider that, okay, my real water is really bad. The present, my drinking water supply is not good, okay. So I really need this tank. So he would go ahead. It's a long journey from starting to here. There are a lot of things are happening in your brain, right? It's not a straightforward. You ask me to install a tank and I do it. It's really, really a long journey, right? So the second person, what he would think? He may think that, okay, my water is bad, so I should also opt for rainwater harvesting. The third person, he may think, okay, my water is good actually, I don't need tank, so he left. Okay. The fourth person, he may think that, okay, my water quality is also bad, so he may come forward. This phase, according to we can call a kind of risk appraisal. What extent this risk will happen, how it will happen, the severity and vulnerability question. Okay, so I have a kind of appraisal of risk. I am evaluating my own risk. So we are talking about this one as risk appraisal. The first questions came to people's mind. Now, what is the second one? What the second questions come to his mind? Any idea? Well, you can think, I cannot see you right now, but you can think that, you can imagine, I give you some time, that would help you to brainstorming, action storming, okay? So the thing I will think, not only cost, many people think about the cost, but I will think also, is it really effective? You are talking to me that I am at risk and offering me this rainwater harvesting tank. But the first question came to me is that, second question came to me, okay, even if I am at risk, will this rainwater tank will help me to reduce my risk? If this mechanism is not really good, what is the meaning of looking at it? What is the meaning of installing it, right? So I really need to judge, second, that this is good or not. So this person may call his friend, and his friend say, okay, this tank is really good, I installed this one. Okay, so he said, okay, very good news. So he would proceed, go ahead with his decision. Then this second person, he has some relatives and they gave a advice. Don't take, it's not good. So he was influenced by him and he left that, oof, I will not install this tank. I do not like it. This person, he may have also some friend and he called him, discussed with him, and they advised that, okay, yes, this tank is really potentially good to reduce the drinking water risk at your place. So if you take this water, it's very good. So he was very satisfied with this review and he decided to go forward. What we call this phase? First one was the risk appraisal. What is the next one? This is we called response efficacy, particularly outcome expectancy. If I am going to install someone, what is the return out of it? Will it work? What are the merits and demerits of it? Okay, will it work or not? Third questions in mind. So you decided that, okay, you are at a risky place, this rainwater tank is effective. Then what would be the third question in mind? That's very interesting, isn't it? So just think for a second. What is the third questions possibly people think? I am at risk, somebody decided, and then also decided that this rainwater tank is good. Then what to think about? can I do it? Can I do it? It could be many reasons. Can I do it? Could be many reasons. This could be question of cost. It could be question of that availability of the materials. It could be kind of question of like I have enough space or not, right? So this person asked the bank. He doesn't have enough money, maybe. So he asked the bank that, can I get some loan? So they said, yes, you can get some money. So he would say, bank would say that you have already loan, so you cannot get any extra credit now. So he left. This person also have monetary problem, and he called his wife. His wife said that we have some savings, extra savings. So don't worry, you can do it. So he was very happy, okay, and he wanted to try this new tank to install. Now what we call this one? First is risk appraisal, then is response efficacy, what we call this phase. This one we call as self-efficacy, a kind of confidence. The reason could be different. It could be sometimes financial reasons, it could be sometimes organizational problem, physical issues, like if I don't have space in my house, I cannot do it. If the materials I cannot buy, I cannot do it. If I don't have the technological knowledge or support, then I cannot do it. So I am at risk, something is going to work, and I can do it. Is very critical according to cognitive and heuristic approach. But this is not the end. This is not the end yet. What else? What else is very critical? Last mile action. Maybe he has money, savings, but still he needs some loan. Can I get some microcredit to install the tank? Right? So he called some microcredit agency, and they said, okay, yes, you can. And then he was very happy and decided to go for this tank. So finally, he installed this rainwater harvesting to protect himself from drinking water disaster. So these theories came from many roots. Okay, one of the prominent influential model theory is the protection motivation theory. I just simplified all of them in a concise manner so that you can get an idea how this our reasoning process and brain, various disciplines, various theories and models they describe. Well, they vary from each other. There are more variables, but that was the concise one. This one, the preemptive model, came from the communications theory to better understand the specific cognitive process underlying how fear apples motivate people to change their behavior. Okay, and so it was the R.W. Rogers in 1975 started to develop this one, and also then it was later on revised by other colleagues of Rogers. So here is the component of PMT or protection motivation theory. One is the fear apple, that is if you are doing some maladaptive behavior, okay, like if you are smoking, if you are throwing your garbage on a gutter, and then what is the impact of this, okay, and which creates a threat appraisal. And the response efficacy and self-efficacy is that if I am asking you to do something, to install or to adopt some preventive measures. Okay, like if I ask you to buy a rainwater harvesting tank or buy a flood insurance, what are the cost of that one, and what would be the return of that one, and whether you have this capacity or not, financial capacity, physical capacity, and minus the cost of adaptive responses, okay, and which is actually the coping appraisal of for the protection motivation theory. So fear apple, the rears of maladaptive response, okay, like if you are smoking, that may gives you some pleasure, and then severity, it can also have some kind of vulnerability, making you more vulnerable. Or maybe if you are throwing garbage, okay, maybe you don't need to go to distance place, you can just do it at your close to your house, but also it is actually choking your drain and gutter. So this plus minus actually coming to threat appraisal, and then it is increasing your protection motivation. But when the rewards are high for, let's say, for smoking or maladaptive response or throwing garbage on a drain, in a drain, and the consequence is lesser, then you are not motivated to do it. Similarly, response efficacy and self-efficacy, like response is the evaluation of how effective the behavior will be in protecting the individual from harm, and the self-efficacy is the individual evaluation of their capacity to perform the recommended behavior. So if I found that this technology really work and I can do it, it's very effective, it has a lot of merit, and I have this confidence, then I also check what are the financial cost and other costs. So plus minus would decide my coping appraisal, and I go for protection motivations. So it has been applied in various health sectors and also recently in disaster risk management. Also, we have another models like health belief models. They have various kind of components like threat, which has two components, severity and susceptibility, and then the benefits and barriers of adopting something, which is cues of actions that leads to health behavior, or theory of recent actions developed by Fishbein and Agen in 1975. They have also similar stories like protection motivations, like what are the behavioral beliefs, what I believe about and about the fear, and what are the outcomes of the protection motivations that leads to kind of attitude, whether I should do it or not. But this is also influenced by what other people think, my society thinks, my friends thinks, right? So now normative beliefs and motivation to comply, and the subjective norms, okay, rules and regulations that leads to intention and eventually the behavior. Also, we have prediction of goal-directed behaviors, theory of predictions. So this is the diagram you can see, and so this is just a glimpse to give you, not to narrate everything, but I hope I gave a more comprehensive overview through this cartoon and installing rainwater harvesting tank, and that gives you much better idea about the overall picture of cognitive perspective of disaster preparedness. Thank you very much.